One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful Monday morning. Great to see everyone in the chat. Obviously, just like any time that we, have our couple of days off from the weekend, we always have some crazy shit going on, and we definitely do this week. So Trump scales back Korean drills. We're talking about North and South Korea in particular there. And I'm going to tell you why that is when we get to that section. Then we have Ukraine launches massive drone attack. Actually, I think it's one of their largest attacks that they have made in recent. Then we have Hayden Panettiere. I think that's how you say her name. Unfortunately, dies. I think she died at 36 years old. Just terrible news, man. So let me go ahead and give you guys the chronological timeline of what we're going to be discussing this morning. First, we're going to be talking about there was an earthquake in Indonesia over the weekend. And we also have the updates on this. Death toll rises and dozens of aftershocks as well over there in India. Terrible. Then we have DOT, the Department of Transportation, recruiting gamers as air traffic controllers. Now, we already knew that was happening. We knew that these certain company or, the government essentially is looking for gamers and recruiting gamers. This is nothing new, actually. It was kind of a thing about a year ago when I heard about the situation of like them preparing and recruiting air traffic controllers. And so the best thing that they did is they ended up going to Call of Duty and seeing, basically how they can recruit from there. Then we have historic Indiana flooding. Trump approves disaster assistance and missing teen found dead, unfortunately. Says flash flood emergencies were issued during the week across east central Indiana as torrential, I guess that's how you say it, rainfall caused life-threatening flash flooding across the region. The flooding comes as severe storms stretch at least 250 miles long and 60 miles wide. Damn. And then we're going to be talking about all these natural disasters, it seems. I mean, fires, earthquakes, you name it, flooding. Then we have Palisades Village reopened 19 months after the fire. Now, you guys remember 19 months ago, we reported on exactly what was going on during those Palisades fires and the other fires that were going on along with it. It was just terrible. Then we have Iran war, Trump's plan for the Strait of Hormuz. This coming out, it looks like yesterday. Yes. And then we have South Korea calls for talks to finally end the Korean War. But there's a reason. There's actually kind of more of a reason than that. So we'll just let that go because it looks like Hal Kempfer comes onto that discussion, which is the perfect man for the job, to be honest. Then we have Iran war, Trump envoys in Middle East, and this was coming out yesterday as well. Then we have Ukraine-Russia war, Kyiv's largest aerial attack. So there you go. There's the official claim right there, because I thought it was one of the largest, and they're saying it is Kyiv's largest aerial attack. Ukraine has launched one of its largest aerial attacks on the ongoing war. Hundreds of drones were launched across Russia. So far, 6 people have been killed. It's crazy that it's only 6 people. I wonder what they're targeting right now. Then we have Trump tells Pentagon to pull back joint South Korea military exercises. Man, that coming out 14 hours ago. And again, there's a reason for all of this, and it's actually because of the lack of support about Iran, about the whole situation with Iran. Then we have Netanyahu campaigns for re-election as Israel and Hezbollah trade strikes. Yes, this is the first actual time that we're seeing, Bibi go through a new, another re-election during the quote unquote war. And so that's the thing. It was kind of locked for him. I'm not sure why they're forcing it now, like why their government is forcing re-election right now, because usually he skirts around it by being in war. And just like, as you guys know, when you're a wartime prime minister, whether that be for, them over there in Israel, or whether that be the president of Ukraine, for instance, definitely something that they care about is when they're in war, because then they can't be pushed out. But it's interesting. Israel is holding their first re-election for, I think, many, many years, since October 7th. Then we have Hayden Panettiere, Heroes and Nashville actress dies at 36. Man, that is terrible, man. Way too early. I mean, that's only 5 years from me. And then we have Atlanta sisters, ages 4 and 11 months, believed abducted. Says Atlanta police are searching for 2 young sisters who are believed to have been abducted by their babysitter. And this just coming out today. It's only got 1,000 views because it just came out. And then we have Trump orders Pentagon to scale back on South Korea. And I wonder why. It says here, President Donald Trump ordered Pentagon to scale back on South Korea exercises. Trump posted on Truth Social, quote, based on my very good relationship with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, I am not happy with the fact that the United States has long ago agreed to participate in joint military exercises with South Korea. These exercises are not only costly, with much of these costs paid by the United States of America, as usual, but send a signal that is totally inappropriate and hostile to a country that, as long as Donald J. Trump has been president, has been unthreatening and respectful. Therefore, based on the fact that it is too late to cancel, I have instructed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to substantially reduce the joint military exercises. While somewhat unrelated, I recently asked the president of South Korea if they would like to join us on denuclearization of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and they said, no, thanks. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Well, there you go. That's just coming out like right before we started the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to discuss, as you guys can see. Obviously, you see the chaos going on with the whole South Korea ordeal and Trump ordering to basically for us to stand down. All right, quickly, let's go ahead and I got to say my big thank you over to Mr. 13, my man, coming in with the 10 spot saying happy Monday, IWF. Mr. Mike, wishing everyone a great week. Well, thank you, bro. Thank you very much. That goes a long way. I very, very much appreciate that. And hopefully you are enjoying your Monday morning so far. I definitely know that we are. All right, so let's go ahead and do our call to actions real quick, and then we'll get into the madness. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it, and it's free to do so. You know what else is free is hitting that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday, and then, of course, we have members only on Saturday morning. It's a good time, man. Speaking of members, please consider becoming a member starting only at $4.99 a month, making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as politics, all that great shit. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. And, of course, we have a Discord server for all of you legends. Make sure you guys go. And the link is down in the video description of any live video that we do. And, of course, it's not only a fantastic place for us as a community, but, of course, we have a breaking news segment that's going on with any type of warfare or shape-shifting of the world. you guys can be in there and hang out with everybody in the normal general chat, but then you guys can check out the breaking news area. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, then we have these platforms that are scrolling around somewhere on the screen. And of course, I will read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a normal super chat. So, of course, you're going to be recognized. We always appreciate that. All right. Good morning to everyone, man. We always appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We got Virginia Chaos sending in a 5-spot saying, hitting the like button is so easy, a caveman can even do it. Yes, sir. Make sure you guys hit that like button, just like Brother VC says. And yes, thank you very much for the 5-spot, VC. Thank you very much for that. All right. We're pretty much going to get right into it, but I do want to say good morning to all you legends in the chat so far. Vanguard Critters was the very first one in here. And then, of course, we got my man VC in the building. Always appreciate you. We got Naomi as well. Good morning to you guys. We got Gary as well as Roland 3. Yes, sir. Brother Dean over there on the West Coast. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well. Good morning to you. We got Jamie Lindsay. Good morning to you as well. Scrolling our way down, OG Steve, easy, yes, sir. We got Swaggy in the building, as well as Bill Castle over there in the state of Washington. We got Motobomb Virginia. Good morning to you, kind sir. Great to see you in the chat. We got Mr. Jack Telcott. Yes, sir. Blessings to you, kind sir. Great to see you. Let's see. We got Nono Grow as well. Good morning to you. We got KP and Mountain Woman. Good morning to you guys. Don't worry, I got me, a left-handed tobacco thing ready to go. So we're ready to rock and roll. We got Miss Lotus as well. Good morning. Scrolling down. Yes, we got to get the likes up. All right. It looks like we've got a lot of you guys going back and forth. I see Putin in here as well as America Uncensored. Thank you guys for being here. We got Tootie Bug as well. And KP knows the deal. Steve Posey. Yes, sir. Good morning. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the craziness. We've got a lot to discuss, as you guys know. First, we're going to start off with this Indonesia earthquake. Death toll has also risen and dozens of aftershocks. So this happened. I think it happened on Friday.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox. We are approaching the top of the hour here, 3:52 on the East Coast and 12:52 on the West Coast. My name is Josh Breslow, and as we continue to cover breaking news out of Indonesia, we have learned sadly
Rebecca, good morning.
The death toll has gone up since that powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake that hit Indonesia. You can see some of that video there on the right-hand side of your screen, and I am going to give you a closer look at this hour as folks were fleeing from those buildings, gathering in the streets there, trying to assess any kind of damage they could. But
I knew exactly what you were getting at, Tootie. It's
also
all good.
Get in touch with their loved ones. Now, at least 20 people have died after the earthquake, and dozens of aftershocks have been reported and registered there off of eastern Indonesia. Tsunami waves of less than 3 feet have been reported in several areas of the country, and the tsunami warning was lifted just a few hours after the earthquake. Now, we have some other viewer video coming in that shows the aftermath as those search and rescue operations have been underway for hours now.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if there's any updates on this, because this is the only thing that we really get from this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to look this up while this plays out. And I'm going to look to see if what the actual numbers are. Because, again, remember what we were talking about during this last earthquake. We were talking about the missing numbers, missing people's number. And that's really what I care about. So right now they're saying 20, unfortunately, are confirmed dead at the moment during this reporting on Friday. But I'm sure those numbers have risen, unfortunately, with missing people being under rubbish, a whole bunch of shit. So
rescuers around the port town of Mamir found 20 people dead, they said, 6 injured and 2 trapped under the rubble. That's according to Father Rahman, the head of the city's rescue agency. Mamir is on Flores Island over in the eastern part of Indonesia. Now, at this point, teams have yet to reach the region closest to the epicenter, and communication signals there have been affected. Attempts to reach that area by car blocked off by landslides, while another team was trying to go by ferry, but at this point has not arrived. Again, you can see just how many people are gathered in the streets, but also working to rescue anyone who may be trapped under the rubble, and later they will be able to assess some of that damage. Now, we also know that about 2,000 residents in that...
Okay, so I got the official numbers right here for everybody. So let me quickly just read these off so everyone knows what the numbers are over there. So Indonesia earthquake, and here's the latest numbers. The magnitude 7.7 earthquake, which is humongous, by the way. 7.5, anything above 7.5 is insane. Well, I mean, anything above 7 is actually insane, but 7.7 is huge. The magnitude 7.7 earthquake struck early Saturday off the northern coast of Flores Island and East Nusa Tenegre. The latest official major wire reporting now puts the toll at 68 people confirmed dead and 213 plus injured. Associated Press and BNPB's latest figures, Reuters reports more than 200. Zero official reported missing at this point. Indonesia's disaster agency says it has not received reports of missing persons, although crews are still searching damaged and isolated areas to make sure nobody remains trapped. 12,800 people unable to return home / displaced in the broader latest reporting. About 5,000 are in temporary shelters right now. 1,300 plus homes were damaged, with nearly 250 destroyed on the Flores, according to the Associated Press. Now, the aftershocks are much higher than, quote, dozens. This is the big update what we're going to emphasize here. So what BMKG now says is 1,624 aftershocks have been recorded as of 11 a.m. local time Monday, ranging from 1.3s to 6.2s on the aftershock. So I wouldn't use dozens of aftershocks anymore, because that's originally what they were reporting, right? Now we're looking at, Indonesia earthquake death toll rises to 68, more than 1,600 aftershocks recorded. Wow. Humongous ordeal going on over there. All right, let's go ahead and bring this back up, and we'll go ahead and finish this off here.
Region have been evacuated and damage reported to a number of houses, warehouses, and government facilities. That's according to the National Disaster Mitigation Agency, known as BNPB. Authorities also reporting, no question here, traffic congestion and a lot of power outages affecting parts of the area. Now, we know that at least 5 people of those 20 died from collapsing rubble as they were sleeping at the time. A 7.7 magnitude earthquake, so a very powerful one. The BNPB, which put the quake's toll at 1 dead and 4 injured, said it was still gathering the data.
Now, you guys know that I just read the actual updated numbers, so kind of disregard the original numbers that they're reporting here. Just kind of pay more attention to the other details as well as the images.
So again, different government officials are giving different numbers. However,
Charlie Rose, good morning.
All of them together, all that's been reported, at least 20 people are dead, but sadly, that death toll could rise, and the number of injured still unclear as all of those figures are coming in. We will keep you updated here on Live Now from Fox as we get additional information, but we know that parts of a building collapsed into dust and rubble as people could be heard screaming and running in the streets, as there's video posted all over social media, and this is one of those showing a lot of concern there as you have the rescuers working to check underneath rubble, listening for screams, but also your average citizen there doing what they can to help. Again, we'll keep you updated here on Live Now from Fox.
Yeah, of course. And if we get anything else, like updates from this whole thing, of course, we're going to play it. But unfortunately, that's the latest update that we got. And that was, I think, Saturday. So anyways, now we're going to go ahead and quickly get into something that it's not something brand new, but it's funny that it's being reemphasized again throughout the mainstream media, because we've known about this for about a year now. DOT, Department of Transportation, is recruiting gamers as air traffic controllers. Yes, we knew about that they were actually recruiting people from Call of Duty, people like me, playing Call of Duty. Hey, you want to fucking work as a air traffic controller? No, thank you. But yeah, anyways, this is something that is in the media. We're going to quickly just discuss it. We're not going to get too far into it. Just play a couple minutes of it before we get into the next ordeal.
Campaign targeting gamers that urge them to put down their console or PC controller and start controlling air traffic has been successful. That's according to numbers from Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. Now, earlier this year, the U.S. Department of Transportation celebrated more than 10,000 qualified candidates applying for a career as an air traffic controller during a 24-hour application window, saying that more than doubled its previous first-day record. Now, earlier this week, Duffy marked the outcome of that recruiting period, saying that more than 2,000 people were hired and 94% of the agency's hiring goal has been met. He noted that it is both a record number of hires and the fastest time the Department of Transportation has reached that hiring percentage. To talk all about this,
that's hilarious, Steve Easy. I listen, you gotta let the gamers get a little something, right? Come on.
This is Randy Klatt. He is a flight safety officer with the Foundation for Aviation Safety, joining us here on Live Now from Fox. Thank you so much, Randy, for taking the time this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I just find this so interesting. Let's start with what skills a gamer might have that could translate to air traffic control.
I'm going to tell you what it is. Hand-eye coordination.
It is a unique approach. I'll grant you that. Certainly, someone who plays a video game for any period of time has developed some skills that are going to be helpful.
Absolutely. Hand-eye coordination is humongous.
Decision making, the ability to think quickly, to handle multiple objects moving on a screen, multiple directions. That sort of a 3D picture that you might see in a video game, not literally but figuratively, as you try to figure out how to maneuver through it. So that thinking process, having that reaction time, those sorts of things are going to be valuable for sure. It's something that certainly would apply to an air traffic control.
See, what I would like to know is what game are they specifically going to talk about? Now, last time it was Call of Duty. Again, this is like stuff that they were doing a year ago, and we actually even reported on it back then. But it's just interesting the DOT's pushing it again.
Controller's job.
Right. And this campaign specifically, it points towards cognitive function, spatial awareness, multitasking, strategy, problem solving. How important
Brother's so loud. My man, good morning.
are those abilities when it comes to safely managing air traffic?
Oh, they're absolutely vital. That's what they do every day, basically every minute of every day. So the job is extremely demanding. It requires all those skills. And the fact that lives lie in the balance, that's really the key here. You have to be able to think fast and make decisions and do all those things, the cognitive abilities. Not all has to happen, but in the background, there's that always present stress.
What's up, Desert Outlaw? He says you also get banned at as playing ATC on Microsoft Flight Simulator if you're not doing the script and holding.
Stress of knowing that a mistake can lead to a disaster. So I think that's the only concern that I would have with this kind of PR program. Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm for sure about that, Rebecca. As soon as they get recruited, that doesn't mean that they're staying for the job. They have to be, you have to pass through training and all of that and go through their protocols and all that stuff. And that's exactly why I wouldn't want to do it myself. I mean, I never got offered it, but that's what I heard is people were getting offered this on basically kind of Call of Duty. So that's how they would find them. Anyways, historic Indiana flooding. Trump approves disaster assistance and missing teen found dead, unfortunately. This was a huge ordeal. The flooding comes as severe storms stretch at least 250 miles long and 60 miles wide. Now, you guys got to remember this happened on the 15th. So, like the afternoon. But let me go ahead and bring this up and figure out what's happening here before we get into it. I think the one thing that we need to do, what we haven't done, is we have not done the money part.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Yes, absolutely. Send in your freaking money. Well, I'm going to tell you why. Not just because I need just money. What I'm trying to do is I want to raise enough money to get ourselves a proper camera. There's a reason why, I want to save up. It's going to take a lot of money to do it. You know what I mean? These cameras are not fucking cheap. I'm not going for like a cheapy webcam or something like that. I want to get a nice DSLR camera, and they're very expensive. It's going to cost me probably about $2,000. And that's me buying it used, by the way. So anyways, we're going to raise that over the course of time. So let's get into this disaster over there at Indiana. Let's figure out what's happening here.
I want to bring into the conversation right now Delaware County Sheriff Tony Skinner. Thanks so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox.
What's up, Buster?
Hi, thanks for having me.
What are conditions like right now? I see that you are on the ground out there. It looks like, some cloudy skies behind you. What are you seeing?
We had rain this morning. It's better today. It's not raining right now, but we're expecting some rain maybe this evening, again tomorrow, again possibly Monday. So the water has receded for the most part.
What I would do, homie, is I would recommend the next time that you come out here and you get yourself onto a camera like this for the media, what I would do, just a little heads up, I wouldn't hold my phone or laptop or whatever. Set that motherfucker down. Put it on a table. Prop it up. Whatever. Stand up while you're propped up, but this whole shaking camera shit is not it. I'm just saying. Anyways.
The rivers are starting to go down, so that's good. We just need some sunshine and a little wind.
And, as you're looking across Delaware County right now, what types of damage are you seeing?
That's hilarious, Steve Easy. And, as you know, it's not a normal camera. The shutters, I forget how it works, but there's the ones to do proper live streaming with. even though the somewhat new cameras, not all of them will do it. You have to have like an open shutter or whatever it's called. I forget what it is, but nonetheless, I have the model that I'm going to specifically get. But yeah, cameras is a big ordeal for live streaming.
A typical flood damage. Homes, some homes are completely ruined all the way up to the ceilings inside. A lot of stranded vehicles. We started dealing with stranded vehicles on roadways Wednesday during day shift, and it ran for about 48 hours. So we were trying to get people out of their cars, trying to persuade people not to drive into high water, doing water rescues out of homes and vehicles.
Damn, look at the fucking,
we were really,
that shit sucks, man. There's certain areas that just don't have the infrastructure built meant for insane amount of water at one time. Texas being one of them, we hear about floodings all over the place in Texas when it starts raining like a motherfucker. Unfortunately, if you don't have the infrastructure built to actually handle that, I mean, we're talking quick flash rains where it comes down. I mean, we're talking maybe inches within just minutes. And unfortunately, this is what it does lead to sometimes.
Swamp, pardon the pun, for a few days in the middle of the week.
And just looking across Delaware.
Mr. Al Batterson, good morning to you, kind sir. Good morning.
Right now, are a lot of the homes just completely unsafe for people to return to?
Quite a few of them, yeah. They lost power. So even if they do go back to them, they're not in livable conditions, quite a few of them.
And has the Red Cross been called into help?
Oh,
yet?
yeah, no.
There have been...
No. What am I doing? You're so fucking right. Good call out, dude. What am I waiting for? We're almost halfway through the freaking thing, even though we're not actually. We're going to have some overtime today. We got a lot of stories to get through. But, hey, listen. Cheers to everybody. All right, here we go. Now we're ready.
Actually, a lot of agencies that have shown up in Delaware County, private groups, churches, and other private organizations, the Salvation Army, the Red Cross. So, yeah, we've seen a lot of support pouring into our community, and we're very thankful for that.
And as your department continues...
By the way, we got Sick Bastard in here, and thank you, kind sir, for also sending over a raid when you were done with your show. I very much appreciate that. Let's see, we got as well as Sterling Wheel in the chat as well. Rains, when it floods out here, it comes fast and hard, so the flat, it's so flat, the water has no place to go. Exactly, it's very true. And luckily, where I live, in particular, just where I happen to live, we don't end up actually dealing with any type of flooding, at least here. It just hasn't happened. I think the way that our land is, I mean, it's also, we got proper irrigation, we got proper all that shit. So it took a lot of work on my father's side. He put a lot of fucking work into that. I mean, it took him months to get that nailed.
Use these recovery options. Are there maybe bridges and roads that you guys can access right now just due to this flooding?
Yeah, most of the roadway is accessible now. The ones that were flooded over a couple of days ago are better. So we can get just about everywhere we want to go. The problem is there are still a few stranded vehicles blocking roadways. And like I said, once people get to their homes, there's very little salvageable in some of those houses. It's quite terrible.
And we're just showing some video on the screen right now of this flooding that's basically almost covering these cars. We're seeing boats out there performing rescue.
Yeah, anytime that you guys start seeing boats out there on the streets doing rescue missions, I mean, that shit is brutal, man. And that's exactly what they're dealing with. And they are calling it historic. So I wonder when the last time Indiana, unfortunately, went through something like that. All right. Speaking of unfortunate, we're going through a handful of things that we're talking about, natural disasters. Flooding being one of them, but Palisades Village reopens 19 months after the fire over there in the Palisades fire in California. We reported on that last year when it all happened. So, 19 months ago to be in particular, like a year and a half. Anyways, almost 2 years.
To another story right now. We have this coming from the New York Post as the Palisades Village prepares for the grand reopening after the devastating fire. We know today is a positive milestone that many have really been looking forward to, as it has been 19 months since the Pacific Palisades wildfire destroyed more than 5,000 homes.
That is true. We are right here in Tornado Alley for real. So that there's always that.
And just completely uprooted the lives of tens of thousands of residents in the West Side Los Angeles neighborhood. We know the Palisades Village is a neighborhood staple, and it was finally able to reopen today. So what I want to do right now is I want to bring us out to the village there. We're joined right now by Nick Garcia with Fox 11 Los Angeles. That grand reopening happening today, and it looks like it's very crowded there right now. What are you seeing?
Hi there, Anna. Yes.
Shit, what's up, brother PJ? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
Very busy today.
Happy
Thousands
Monday.
of people were out here for the ribbon cutting. That happened late morning. Now it's just a day of shopping. There's a lot of pop-up shops and pop-up opportunities for snacks and photo opportunities as well. But like you were saying, this is really a community hub. This is the heart of the Pacific Palisades here on Sunset Boulevard. And even as other...
Listen to this guy talk, though.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Just an observation, though.
Businesses slowly started to reopen, even in the maybe 5 or 6 months after the fire. Again, in January of 2025, the village remained closed. And that was the big question here was, when is it going to reopen? And that is something that we heard from folks time and time again. So certainly they're happy to see this happen. It cost $100 million to actually do all the smoke remediation here. Of course, the village itself did not burn down. Billionaire Rick Caruso, who owns the property, had private firefighters out here that January night to protect the village here. So thankfully it was saved, but there was a lot of smoke damage because there, as you can see on that hill there, a home being rebuilt now. And that's what we're seeing around the area here is rebuilding. Again, this one was fine, but that smoke remediation, and they did actually do some rebuilding here because they had to tear down some of the walls.
I'm sure. I was about to say, I'm sure that they had to get rid of a couple of buildings or structures or whatever in the area right here and have to rebuild.
Smoke, and then we're actually going to walk back down the
smoke damage in these fires can be insane.
This way, this is kind of the main center here. Restaurants have reopened, shops have reopened. People are excited to be back. But I want to show you, Anna, just across Sunset.
Yeah, the last time we had a really bad one, like a really bad one that fucked up the town kind of thing a bit, was in 2011. 2011 was when that happened. Now, luckily, you guys know that I moved here in May of 24, so I missed all of that by a long shot.
Boulevard, as we make our way back over here to the kind of entry point, one of the entry points here at the village, you can see across where there's still a clear reminder of the fire that swept through here. And just across the street, a lot of those buildings were destroyed. That shows you how close the fire got to the village here. So that is a very stark reminder of what happened here.
Brother VC, I am super sorry if I'm like super late on this. I am by 7 minutes. So I apologize, brother VC. I know that you like, low key, you like to try to sneak it past me, but that's you just having a good time. We got brother VC sending in $20, by the way, on the Cash App. Not much, but a little towards the new camera. No, dude, trust me, it is much. It all adds up. Thank you for that 20 spot on the Cash App, brother VC. Making it rain over here. Let's fucking go. Yeah, exactly. He says, damn, I thought I'll catch you slipping. Well, listen, it does happen once in a while. Just depends on what I'm doing or like, usually I'll miss stuff like that if I'm doing a long, like drawn out, like not speech, but when I start explaining something, that's usually when I'll miss it for a while.
Months ago, again.
Sorry.
And like you said, it is a little bittersweet. It's a very celebratory tone here. People are happy. This is a new chapter here for the village, and hopefully they're hoping that they'll be able to resume community meetings and gatherings here. There are different parks within the village that people usually meet at. So hoping to get back to some normalcy there, but a lot of people around this area are still rebuilding. The rebuilding has been very slow. So what they're hoping here at the village is that even if you're living maybe a ways away from the Palisades, as you rebuild your home, you'll still come up here to meet friends, to shop, to eat.
So it looks like it's going to be a good area for, morale. Where people are going to be able to gather, hang out, whatever. And it looks like they even have their officials. Oh no! This is earlier. But it is like straight up officials talking at this place as well. So their big opening of it, which is great. Hopefully they continue doing exactly what they're doing over there, and God bless all of them. Everybody that's been involved in natural disasters, man. I just feel terrible. All right, let's shift our focus a bit over into Iran. We haven't discussed Iran today. And we always do. So Iran war, Trump's plan for the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this quote unquote plan came out yesterday or whatever. Or the day before. It could have been Saturday evening. We'll figure it out. But nonetheless, here we go. We're going to start getting through this weekend and getting us into current time this morning. But first, we got to get through this.
Speaking in New York on Friday, yesterday, Trump, with a chuckle, said,
So this was on Saturday when they were reporting this.
Finish defeating
Saturday evening.
Iran, which is being very badly defeated, pretty soon I'll be declaring the Hormuz Strait a territory of the United States. Unquote.
Right. Yep. Him making the claim, it's going to be, the Strait of Hormuz is going to be territory of the United States.
Okay, we've got some questions about this. Let's bring in retired Marine Intelligence Officer, National Security Analyst, and the host of the podcast, Hal Kempfer. He's here with me. Hal, how credible is this idea from a military standpoint?
Well, Austin, from a military standpoint, it would be rather unusual. I'm not quite sure how you take territory in the water per se without taking islands. That would put boots on the ground, doing an island campaign. And then the second off is I don't think any of our Gulf allies, nor the international community, has any desire or would actually strongly oppose it if we were to seize territory in the Strait of Hormuz. So I think what he was trying to say, and President Trump has a certain amount of rhetorical flurry.
What's up, my man? We got Carney Vanguard in the chat. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far.
Let's just put it that way. But what he was kind of finishing up on talking about, military dominance within the Strait of Hormuz, military control. And it won't be a U.S. territory per se, but it will certainly be, at some point, the U.S. will control that area. At least that was the intent of what he was saying. So, but under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, under international law, this.
PJ, I'm telling you, the rotator cuffs are nothing to play with. I promise.
Causes issues. Obviously, it gives a propaganda point to Tehran, which they will use, and they will use it extensively with the Iranian people. It also opens up a big propaganda point and potentially other problems with China, which claims the entire South China Sea as its territory, which is a very problematic. And the U.S. has been involved with all of our allies over there, pushing back on that and helping them with maritime domain awareness and maritime security. I've been a part of that effort. So there are larger ramifications to what he just said, regardless of whether he kind of says, hey, I was joking or whatever.
If the United States, and again, Trump had a chuckle when he was talking about this, but we see it's getting widely reported, and it's there's certainly a lot of reaction to Trump's remarks yesterday. Are Oman and Iran still working on their deal that would basically give them a say over what comes in and out?
That's a good question, because the last I still know is that they're still finalizing that agreement over the strait, where the inbound traffic would go to the IRGC side, and then the outbound would go through the Omani side, and both sides would end up taking tolls from the ships in and out. Basically, that's what they're working on.
For the strait?
As far as I know, from what I can tell, that negotiation is still ongoing. It definitely didn't get closed this last week. You remember last weekend, President Trump said he thought there was a deal going to be done very, very soon, and that clearly has not happened. But as far as I know, they are still talking about it. Now, of course, the key point on that is if you get to the Strait of Hormuz, it's very narrow.
PJ, I honestly, I don't know the answer to that. I would assume by doing absolutely nothing with it and just doing physical therapy.
And it actually, the strait itself at certain points is either the territorial waters of Iran or the territorial waters of Oman. There is no exclusive economic zone. There is no high seas that any ships could go through. It's either one territorial water or the other territorial water. Now, Iran is claiming they control the entire Strait of Hormuz. And I would just point at the map and say, well, you get half, but you don't get the other half. The other part is Omani waters. And so we've been working really hard with Oman. We've been rerouting ships through Omani waters. But then you just saw that the Iranians just hit a vessel by the United Arab Emirates. They do not respect Omani waters or any other country's territorial waters.
So right now it did go back up to about 20 per day. So on Thursday it dropped down to 9. So it was a very, very slow day during Thursday and Friday. It was pretty much their slowest. And then after that, it kind of ramped back up to 20. But you got to remember, before the war, they were, anywhere from 175 to 230, 250, in those ranges of how many ships were moving through. So right now, about 20 per day is what's slipping through.
And they've been firing on vessels anywhere in and around the strait on a pretty regular basis. And they've been firing at ports in and around the strait, to include, ports outside the strait that are UAE. There's a UAE port they've hit multiple times. So, it's an interesting piece of geography, always has been.
why do they keep firing like they're firing?
You know, they keep doing it to make a point. This is the Revolutionary Guard Corps. There's been a lot written, talked about that there is kind of a schism. There's the
I would agree 20 is better than 0, but man, it's definitely not open.
Negotiation or
not fully open.
Negotiation side of the regime, the Iranian regime, and then there's this group of hardliners. And this last week, there was this kind of turnover. 6 hardliner generals were put in charge, and they took the top spots in the government, and certainly on the national security side, the military side, and they're all very much. In fact, the head of the National Security Council, or their version of it, is very much opposed to any negotiations with the U.S. So it's making it hard. And whatever's coming from Mojtaba Khomeini, who I would point out that we have never seen since this war began, we have never heard from directly since this war began. There's just stuff said that he supposedly said. He's never appeared in public or anything like that, but that he's indicating that he supports these hardliners taking their position. But then again, the only conduit for that information is the hardliners themselves. So it's tough to say. I mean, there's still speculation out there that Mojtaba Khomeini isn't actually alive. And there's other speculation is that could still be in a coma.
And there's other speculation that, well, I mean, I actually saw the reports that there was claims that Iranian officials were basically preparing for his death. Now, nothing came of it. I've been keeping up on that story, and nothing came up of it. So, unfortunately, that probably was propaganda. But nonetheless, we've definitely kept our eye on any type of movement with the new supreme leader, of course,
or something. We don't know, but
which basically the update is nothing. There is nothing.
He has not talked or
right.
he's not appeared or said anything or been seen in public since the attacks.
Yeah, it was the opening rally of this war. It was the very first day. Some reports indicated he could be disfigured or severely injured in some way, but there's really no level of clarity on his condition. I got to ask you about this. Iran says that Qatar is holding 3 Iranian pilots who have been missing since March. But Qatar says it's holding no pilots and recovered only remains. Hal, you and I were talking about this offline. It made us both kind of curious. Why would Tehran turn this into a public confrontation now if this happened earlier this year?
I think it's just to make a point. I think part of it, too, is they've been taking nothing but casualties from these, U.S., Israeli, and some of the Gulf states have joined in on these various airstrikes. And it might be to make a point that, in their minds, valiant, Iranian airmen flew to Qatar, and now they're being held against their will, being held as prisoners of war or something like that. Mm-hmm. Could be that the Iranians are trying to work their way in there so they can inspect Qatari location.
Damn, Kerry also going through rotator surgery. What the fuck, man? Yeah, all my friends growing up, well, at least from within the industry that I worked in, we used to throw these big ship lines, basically. I mean, they're big vessel lines for big barges, tugs, and all that shit. And when we would throw that shit, we would actually have to throw it that way, like shot put. And a lot of us would end up going through rotator cuff surgery eventually, like actually pretty, like usually within 10 years, someone's usually doing it. And luckily, during my 10 years of service of doing what I did, I didn't end up fucking up my shoulder. I fucked up my shoulder in a whole different thing where they reconstructed my whole left shoulder because of my motorcycle accident. But had nothing to do with, the industry, but it had all to do with a drunk woman taking me out at 80 miles per hour.
By claiming that they may be holding Iranian airmen there. But certainly if I had to pick between the two, I'd pick the Qataris' word on this every day, as opposed to whatever the Iranians say. And more likely than not, when those aircraft were shot down, that there were probably no survivors. So I don't know what they base this on. I found it rather surprising. It just seemed to come out of nowhere. And certainly I've heard nothing, absolutely nothing that indicates that this was the case before the Iranians said it. And frankly, if they were being held, I think something would have surfaced before now. So it sounds like it's just a...
Thank you for that, Charlie Rose. Yeah, my scapula in the back shattered completely. And then, of course, they had to reconstruct my whole shoulder with big metal plates and that like these huge fucking screws. The X-rays are insane. Anyways, we're gonna move on from this. We got other updates on Iran, anyways, so we might as well. And we're also already 45 minutes in, and we usually run only an hour, but we're gonna have a little overtime today because we got a lot of stories. It's usually how it is throughout, when we come back on a Monday. We got to report Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday. So now, just like we have on the thumbnail today, we're going to be discussing a little bit about South and North Korea. Well, why is that? So why is Trump basically telling them to stand down in the aspect of us training or whatever? South Korea calls for talks to finally end the Korean War, but this is not only it. There's multiple things going on with that. Let me see if where is it here? I'm looking for it. There it is. Trump tells Pentagon to pull back joint South Korea military exercises. Man, there's a lot of shit going on with South Korea right now. So let's go ahead and figure out what the hell is going on. We'll pull this one up. Here we go.
Talk about North Korea and South Korea. Some interesting news coming out today. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung called for talks with North Korea to pursue peaceful coexistence between the North and the South. Lee says Seoul will seek safeguards to prevent conflict and that the two Koreas should hold a sit-down for coexistence. Fascinating stuff. Retired Marine Intelligence Officer and National Security Analyst Hal Kempfer is here with me. Hal, how seriously should we take President Lee's call for an end to the Korean War?
Well, I think it's a sincere...
Yeah, I think it's sincere, but is it something realistic? Do you think that there's going to be peace and cohesion between the two? I just think that there's too much bad blood in North Korea. Just... Those people, you're not going to reason with them, okay? It just is what it is.
Call for the end of the Korean War. It's not the first time I've heard a call for the end of the Korean War. For everyone's reference, we have been in an armistice with the U.S. and South Korea have been in an armistice with, and the United Nations, I should mention, because this was actually a time when the United Nations as a whole,
you too,
went to fight in defense of a country, South Korea. So that it's been an armistice since 1954. It's been going on for a very, very long time. And
what's up, brother TNT? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
There have been attempts over the years to try and move forward into some sort of more stable peace agreement or peace treaty, but they've never been successful.
Shit, what's up, Extra Surprise? Good morning.
Kim Jong-un, his father, his grandfather have all been resistant to moving forward with this. And of course, some years back, North Korea developed nuclear weapons. They have tremendous amount of ballistic missiles and everything else. So they're really, I think it's a sincere effort, but I don't think it's going to resonate anytime soon.
I would imagine, just to answer this real quick, PJ, I would assume yes, but also do physical therapy. You know what I mean? If you can, that's what I would recommend. We got chatting with Stacks, by the way. Good morning to you in the chat. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far.
North Koreans just shot 2 ballistic missiles within the past week. So what is it going to take for you to take
Slim Jong
any type of negotiations seriously from Pyongyang's perspective if this does get to that point?
Well, I'd like to, first I'd like to see some serious discussion. There's a place on the demilitarized zone. It's a little city with some blue buildings there where they could actually sit down across from each other at the table and talk about these things. That's an area where there's ongoing negotiations that deal strictly with the DMZ itself. Basically, it's almost like property management stuff, but it deals with the DMZ, various things that say, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, various issues that pop up at times, or when they're going to do maintenance. This goes back to a series of things. It's a kind of I wouldn't say hot, but pretty darn warm DMZ. There's been a history of actions along the DMZ. There have been attacks from the north while the armistice is still there. They still attack. There's a famous case back in the 80s where they actually killed. There were some U.S. soldiers that went in there to trim some trees that were blocking our view, and they attacked and killed a soldier.
Wow.
So
here's the thing: North and South Korea, you're not going to see anything end between them anytime soon. I'm just gonna say it just like it is. We're not talking about what ought be. We're talking about what is, right? Okay. Anyways, first, before we get into more of the discussions regarding South Korea and Trump telling them that we're going to basically stop our training with them or our exercises with them. First, we got to get back into Iran real quick because we do everything chronologically here. Iran war, Trump envoys in Middle East. So let's go ahead and figure out what's happening with this report. We'll play this quickly. 3, 2, 1. Also, before we play this, I think that it's appropriate time. I think everybody needs to embrace their fuck ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
We must always embrace the process here at Insane Wheels. Let's get the likes up, man. Let's get the likes up. Double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. You guys don't have to like it for all this craziness, what we're, dealing with, but you guys can like it for me and what we're doing here. And for anybody that don't like it,
man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Yeah, what he said. All right, back to this.
We're going to begin today with the headlines, and that starts with the war in Iran. And talks to reopen the Strait of Hormuz remaining stalled, Tehran pushing back over U.S. claims that it controls the strait, saying the U.S. must, quote, stop indulging in delusions. President Donald Trump suggesting that he will make the strait a U.S. territory. Congressional lawmakers, they are demanding more information about conditions aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln, which is deployed in the Middle East. Admiral Brad Cooper visited the ship this weekend as it prepares to return home following nearly 9 months at sea. Democrats are raising questions about supply shortages, water contamination, and deteriorating mental health. And news broke this week that President Donald Trump was secretly moved off of Air Force One last month. This was because of a credible threat on his life. This is
right. And we discussed that the day it happened. And then the media made it seem like this big ordeal when it was exactly what we explained it from day one. We got the reports and we told you guys about it.
From the country of Iran. And when he was leaving Turkey in July, the president boarded Air Force One, but was escorted off the plane and into a catering truck, which took him to a smaller military plane. Other top officials and members of the press remained on the original Air Force One. For more on that and the rest of this week.
What's up, Mark? Good morning to you, by the way. Happy Monday.
News. I want to welcome Joey Garrison back in. He is the USA Today White House correspondent. And thank you. This is our first time chatting, so I appreciate your time with us. I know you're a professional here. Thank you, for joining us. So first off, let's talk about this threat to the president's life and how credible was this?
Well, it was a very serious threat. I mean, to secretly remove the president off Air Force One is an extraordinary move, and it's one that they didn't announce afterwards or tell reporters. These sorts of things have happened with past presidents where, they go through some unorthodox procedure to for example, Joe Biden, when he went into Ukraine during the war.
You guys are so gay talking about this shit. This is something that we already discussed and broke the day it happened. And we told you exactly why. It was a death threat. And we told you guys the Qatar Air Force One didn't have every bit of safety features that the old Air Force One had when they were leaving from Turkey, from the NATO summit. So there was this threat, we're talking like the bulletproof windows and all that shit. I mean, everything on Air Force One had been upgraded along the years. And so it had many, many, many safety, things about it, safety features. So they took them off of the Qatari Air Force One, and then they put them on the old Air Force One. And we reported exactly that. So it's just, the media's just fucking gay. Anyways, let's go into Ukraine-Russia war. We got Kyiv's largest aerial attack. So they are calling it the largest. Now, recently, Ukraine made it rain in Russia, where Russia shot down over 500 drones in one day. That was on Friday. Well, actually, I think it was Thursday night. But I think we reported on it on Friday. But Ukraine has launched one of its largest aerial attacks on the ongoing war. Hundreds of drones were launched across Russia, and they were reporting so far 6 people have been killed from those strikes, or from those, drone attacks. Now, let's figure out if this is the same drone attack that they were talking about that we reported on Friday, and we'll see if there's any type of distinction there, or maybe this may be the next day kind of thing. We'll figure it out together, though. All right, give me a second here to pull it up. There we go.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. We are following some breaking news involving Ukraine and Russia. This is a social media post from Reuters stating that...
Oh, no. So that means that they're being attacked again. So this is a whole separate one from Friday.
That Ukrainian drones struck the Moscow region. A little bit more information on this as we continue our coverage right here on Live Now from Fox. Ukraine launched hundreds of drones across Russia today, killing at least 6 people in one of Kyiv's largest aerial attacks of the war. Ukraine has stepped up its attacks on Russia this year with long-range missiles and a lot of drones targeting military industries and energy facilities. It's also increasingly hit Wildberry depots, burning.
See, Rebecca, the best part about what we do over here, though, is we show you what's actually going on. We're not discussing and dramatizing something about it. We just find out what is actually happening, and then we present what is actually happening, right? So that's the difference. And that goes for any media, by the way. Any media, they're going to have their own message and twist behind it. I don't give a fuck about my narrative. My narrative essentially is what this whole show is, which is the truth, and just showing exactly what's happening and being transparent with it. Right?
Billions of dollars worth of merchandise belonging to the Russian online retail giant. Those attacks have brought the war home to the Russian public nearly 4.5 years into this conflict. Meanwhile, Ukraine also came under Russian attack, with drone strikes destroying homes and torching the capital's landmark book market. Russia's Ministry of Defense said that it had destroyed 822 Ukrainian drones overnight. About 600 drones were detected heading towards the Russian capital. That's according to Moscow's mayor, with a third of those destroyed over the region itself. An 83-year-old man was killed after a Ukrainian drone.
Oh, shit. We got a big donation, man, coming in from Mr. Al Patterson on the Cash App. He sends $40, man, a 40 spot, saying, thanks for always giving the facts. Man, humongous W to you. Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. And sorry if it took me a little bit to get to it. It took me 4 minutes, so I'm sorry for being late on that. But Mr. Al Patterson goes a long way, bro.
Drone hit a private home in the Moscow region. That's according to a local government official there, who also confirmed that a Ukrainian attack had sparked a fire at a wild berries warehouse in a nearby town. A drone attack targeted 3 towns in Russia's southwestern region, killing 5 people. That's according to a local government official there. And the attack, with more than 150 drones, damaged several homes and a railway station that started a forest fire. Meanwhile, a Russian missile attack killed 2 people.
Now, we also explained that whole ordeal, too, where it was a grass fire
in Ukraine and wounded 14 others. That's according to Ukrainian President Zelensky, who posted to social media earlier today. He said that 1 more person had also been killed in another city. Now, Ukraine's largest steel producer confirmed that one of its sites had been hit in a missile attack and that operations had been partially suspended. Meanwhile, a man and a woman died when their home was hit by a Russian strike in Ukraine's southern region. That's from the head of a local military administration. And those Russian attacks also started fires throughout the Ukrainian capital.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wounding 6 people. So today, escalation between Ukraine and Russia as drone attacks launched across Russia from Ukraine killed a number of people, and Russia also retaliating with its own attacks.
Yeah. And so there was 2 massive aerial attacks. Essentially, that's what I got from the whole thing, because there was the day before that, essentially, which was on Friday. We were reported on it. I think it happened on Thursday night, where Russia shot down over 500 drones. And if they're launching in over one night, that's just one night. One single fucking night. That's not like across like a week or something like that. That was in a single night. So we're a lot of shit's going on. Anyways, and then this one happened, and that was the largest aerial attack that they're reporting. So anyways, let's get into Trump tells Pentagon to pull back joint South Korea military exercises. Now, this is what we actually have on the thumbnail. Let me know what you guys think. We put a lot of hard work into these thumbnails, man. It's not as easy as people think it is, man. So, but we always appreciate you guys hanging out with us. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what's happening here. 3, 2, 1, bam.
Okay, you're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. Live look at the White
House. Now, this just happened yesterday. So, for context, we're almost into this morning.
Now, 7:15 in the nation's capital. We're getting breaking news from President Trump. He's ordering the Pentagon to scale back planned joint military exercises with South Korea. He says South Korea declined to help denuclearize Iran. He's also citing his good relationship with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. He posted this statement on Truth Social. Based on my very good relationship with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, I am not happy with the fact that the United States has long ago agreed to participate.
Hey, you be safe out there, PJ. And yes, take care of yourself. Absolutely. We'll see you on the flip side.
In joint military exercises with South Korea. These exercises are not only costly, with much of these costs paid for by the United States of America as usual, but send a signal that is totally inappropriate and hostile to a country that, as long as Donald J. Trump has been president, has been unthreatening and respectful. Therefore, and based on the fact that it is too late to cancel, I have instructed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to substantially reduce the joint military exercises. While somewhat unrelated, I recently asked the president of South Korea if they would like to join us in the denuclearization of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and they said, quote, no thanks.
And that's exactly why, that's the true reason why he's doing this. That's why he's doing it, because Trump asked South Korea, will you join us on the denuclearization of Iran? And they said, no, thanks. And so now this is how Trump is basically responding to that.
Thank you for your attention to this matter. President signs off there at the bottom. Okay, so let's talk about this with retired Marine intelligence officer, national security analyst, and the host of the Scrap podcast, Hal Kempfer. He's here with me. Hal, it was just 24 hours ago that you and I were talking about the president of South Korea speaking about his want to get on a path and start working toward making things a little more peaceful and perhaps even officially end the war between the North and the South.
And by the way, we're officially in overtime. You know what they say about overtime. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Send in your freaking money. Feels ultra good to be a G. Always appreciate you guys. All right, here we go.
Is it a coincidence that this post from Trump is coming right after the South Korean president said that?
Austin, it's rather interesting that they are juxtaposed like that. I don't know if they're directly related or not. I don't know how close of attention President Trump paid to that outreach effort by the South Korean president, but it is rather interesting. This comes right on the heels of it. Kind of throws everything off. Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
If anything, it puts a lot of pressure on South Korea to do more.
Well, Trump knows that.
In terms of those meetings, because now the U.S. support for South Korea seems to have been a little destabilized by those comments. And I have to tell you, the ramifications of what was just said there are rather big. If I was sitting in Ukraine right now, I'd be looking at that, scratching my head, saying, well, there's 50,000 North Koreans that are coming over to fight us on behalf of Russia. And they would be kind of wondering about some of the kind words that President Trump had for Kim Jong-un and his relationship with Kim, but also his relationship with North Korea. So they would point to that. Certainly Japan would point to it and say, well, what about all these missile tests we've had? And, so it definitely is a rather interesting thing. But I think it shows President Trump's frustration that he can't get anybody on board with helping with Iran.
How important are these joint exercises that the U.S. and South Korea work on?
Absolutely crucial, absolutely essential. I've been, when I was in uniform, I was involved with multiple exercises over in South Korea.
Wow.
I was stationed in the Far East for a while as well. And I can tell you that is a cornerstone
I didn't know that
of
about
our security program in the Far East. North Korea is always a major threat over there. Security on the Korean Peninsula is absolutely paramount to what we do in that region. And these exercises are where we go in and we work.
Though, and by the way, though he's retired, he still is involved in, advising situations. He's a Marine intelligence officer, or a retired Marine intelligence officer.
Hand in glove with our South Korean counterparts, and develop the capabilities that deter the North from doing something. It's our ability to work together so well and so efficiently that really has been a cornerstone of our deterrence posture on the Korean Peninsula. The North doesn't want to do anything because they look at how well we work with the South. They go, these guys are a well-oiled machine. We don't want to try and attack them.
How would you describe President Trump's relationship with Kim Jong-un in 2026?
I find it interesting. He hasn't had they haven't had a summit or a big meeting, but he's citing that. I find Kim Jong-un in 2026 to be, he spends all of his time trying to cozy up to Putin and sending forces over to Russia, and now sending forces to Russia to fight, and now they're not even hiding it. They are fighting directly in the border or on the front lines of Ukraine.
Right. And they did that the first time because this is now going to be the second time North Korea would be sending troops in, because they already did it. And when they did it, they were it was supposed to be them being a support role originally, but then they were on the front lines and they did do massive amount of damage. We're talking a huge amount of damage was done by their army, essentially. So
I find it just rather fascinating. I think it's very different from his first term in office. And I found it interesting that he was citing that. I don't see a whole lot really going on there other than Kim Jong-un being Kim Jong-un.
And of course, we're looking at these pictures. This was quite the moment during Trump's first term when the sitting U.S. president actually stepped foot into North Korea, visited the DMZ. This was Kim Jong-un and President Trump. And like you said, Hal, I would be curious to see if we eventually do get some sort of summit or bilateral meeting between Trump and Kim at some point during the second Trump term. What are the implications of Trump's post? I've been asking you about what this means for South Korea, what this means for the Americans. Kim Jong-un and the North Korean regime, what are they thinking when they see a Truth Social post like this?
Oh, man. And yeah, I mean, essentially the way that I see what's going to happen is the U.S. military that's there, stationed over there, they're just going to basically take vacation. Like, hey, you guys aren't doing any of this training with these guys anymore. Not for right now. Hold off.
Well, it's interesting. If you look at the language in that post almost looks identical to some language that Kim Jong-un himself has put out about these exercises. That has been a long-standing stance of North Korea. It's what Kim Jong-un puts out. It sounds almost identical what his father put out and his grandfather put out, railing against these joint ROK U.S. exercises that take place. Team Spirit. Now they're called Ulchi Freedom Shield. I was in Team Spirit, Ulchi Focus Lens, multiple Team Spirits as I recall. So these exercises are a big deal, but North Korea's always pointed to them, say they're provocative, they're threatening, they're antagonistic. All these things, warmongering and stuff like that. And then usually around those times, they do a lot of provocative things like missile tests and all sorts of stuff.
Yep. It's just a good way to threaten. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into this next story here. We still got a lot to get through. Shit, man. We got Netanyahu campaigns for re-election as Israel and Hezbollah trade strikes. Now, as you guys may or may not know, this is the first election since October 7th of 2023. So this is a big deal for what's going on with Israel. I'm interested as to why their government decided to lift it and do an election where Netanyahu essentially has to campaign again. Very interesting. Because as everyone knows, he's a wartime prime minister, and that's what keeps him in that position.
Okay, you're watching Live Now. I'm Austin Westfall. So we have a election here in the United States in November, of course. We're going to be talking about that quite a bit leading up to the 2026 midterms. But in October, Israeli citizens will decide whether they want Benjamin Netanyahu to remain their prime minister. The global stakes of the election are major as Israel juggles the war in Iran and a path forward in Gaza, among other things. Election day in Israel is October 27th. Let's bring in Professor Alon Burstein of the Israel-Palestine Report. He's here with me. Really the point of this, and you and I were talking offline, we want to kind of do an educational segment and let people know what the stakes are with this election, why it's important, what people need to know about how the election is going to be run and who's running in it. People need to know, first and foremost, Alon, here in the States, we have two major political parties. That's how things work here. How does the system work over there?
Yeah, I forget exactly how their party system works, but it is wildly different.
Thank you for having me, Austin. And it's a great place to start because the Israeli system is different than the American system in a number of ways. The most critical of them is that Israel is a parliamentary democracy, not a presidential system. Most of the democratic world are parliamentary systems. And what that means is, unlike in the United States, where you vote for Congress and then you also vote for president. So the president becomes president by virtue of theoretically popular vote, or in this case, the Electoral College. In parliamentary systems, in Israel, the Kingdom, lots of countries in Europe, you only vote for a party. You vote for a party, and then the parties have to.
And then the party decides who they're going to put in there.
Together and form a coalition that have a majority, and they elect the prime minister. So the prime minister is not elected automatically in the elections. We're going to have a bunch of different parties running, and then the party that gets.
I think it's like 5 different parties or something crazy.
It's the most amount of votes is going to try to combine with other parties in order to get a majority and elect the prime minister. And that's what also forms the second major difference between Israel and the United States, and that is the number of parties running, the sheer number of parties.
How many?
Because unlike in the United States, which is called a majoritarian system.
For some reason, I feel like it's 5.
Where
I feel like I've heard that.
We know very well that's considered winner takes all, right? If the Republican Party wins by one single vote in the state of Virginia, the entire state of Virginia, the Electoral College goes to them. Israel is a proportional system, which means each party gets the share of votes comparative to the seats that they got in the elections. So if a party, the Likud, under Netanyahu, gets 20% of the vote, they will get 20% of the seats in parliament. If another party gets 10%, they will get 10%. And this encourages a lot more parties running. Usually,
I didn't know that part. Depending on how much your party got voted in, like let's say it's only 15%. Well, then 15% of your party will represent in parliament, which is interesting.
In Israel, between 40 and 50 parties running the elections, between 10 and
13. Whoa. That many parties. Holy shit. But what do they take? The best 5 or something like that? What the fuck?
Parties running. Usually in Israel, between 40 and 50 parties.
Wow. For some reason, I thought it was 5. Maybe I'm thinking of like Canada, because I know Canada was 3 or 5. I can't remember, something ridiculous. And I forget how many parties there are across, like, what is it, UK or whatever? That's a parliament.
He's running the elections. Between 10 and 13 tend to get in, and that's what they're all fighting about right now. They're all going to fight about trying to get the most amount of votes. It's not going to be clear on election day who becomes prime minister, because only after they count the votes do we then see, okay, who's the biggest party, who's going to join with who, and who's going to become the next prime minister.
A live look at Tel Aviv, 5:24 in the morning in the city, in Israel, I should say. Alone, so what are the most significant political positions of the most important parties?
So another feature of Israel, which is partly a result of the system and also just a result of political turmoil, is the Likud is still one of the biggest parties, but the other big party is changing every elections. So right now, the biggest rival of the Likud is a party led by Gadi Eisenkot. It's a new party. It was created literally a year ago. And that's now the biggest challenger party. It used to be Labor, then it was Benny Gantz. So first of all, if people are confused, wait a minute, who's running against who? You're right to be confused. Each and every election is a different new figure that comes in. But within the Israeli system,
yeah, that sounds complex as fuck, man. I mean, it's just, I don't know their system like that, of course. You know, I know our system here in the United States.
The Israeli electoral system right now.
Yeah, they make it difficult, don't they?
And they're not the typical issues that we think of the United States. The United States, obviously, the issues are usually abortion, gun rights, and obviously more capitalist and socialist systems. In Israel, the things at stake are much more contextualized. First, there's the obvious security questions. There's the more hawkish side that would like to see expansion of settlements in the West Bank and theoretically also maybe in the Gaza Strip. And the more dovish side, very few people are talking about a two-state solution anymore, but more in Israel, they're talking about accommodation, autonomy for Palestinians, and trying to limit settlements. So that's one of the issues. The Likud is more on the expansionist side. Gadi Eisenkot's party, Yashar, is more on the dovish side. The other main issue is the draft of ultra-Orthodox Jews. This is a niche thing in Israel, or it's a niche thing that's specific to Israel, where there is a mandatory draft to the military, but ultra-Orthodox Jews have an exemption. It's become very, very contentious.
I did not know that they have an exemption. I did not know that.
And that's one of the hot button topics in this election. But the third thing is the judicial overhaul, judicial reform. That is one of the things that's at stake, because prior to October 7th, the Israeli government under Netanyahu was trying to champion a major move to weaken Israel's Supreme Court, essentially to allow the government to override any decisions that come from the Supreme Court. There were massive protests in Israel, at times 600, 700,000 people taking to the streets spontaneously, shutting down the country. And this was the midst of the political debate. And then October 7th happened. October 7th happened and everything froze. But now it's the first time we have elections since then. So the question of, is Israel going to still maintain its checks and balances, maybe have firmer checks and balances, or are the parties led by Netanyahu and his coalition going to come in and manage to weaken the Supreme Court, is really the other question at stake. And that is one of the reasons that many people are looking at this election as one of the most crucial ones. I know that now it's become a buzz thing in all election rounds to say this is the most important elections in the country. But in this case, whoever does manage to win this election, and I'll talk about maybe in a minute, a situation where there might not be a winner, but whoever does manage to win this election is...
Man, he is, I mean, fuck, he is amazing when it comes, he's a wealth of knowledge, and I mean it in a complimentary aspect that he's like an autist with this shit. He really is on top of his shit when it comes to this stuff, but we got to move on. We got 3 more stories to get through, and we're way past. We got Mr. Al Patterson coming in and gifting out a membership, by the way. Thank you very much for that, by the way. Listen, if you guys got a membership, make sure you guys tune in on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, where we don't discuss any of this craziness. We actually have a good time. So thank you for that. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up. We got Hayden Panettiere, Heroes and Nashville actress, dies at 36 years old, man. It's terrible. This happened just 11 hours ago. Quick breaking update. I don't know why it's oh, okay, it'll go into it in a second.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Shauna Kalafi. We are following some sad breaking news tonight. Actress Hayden Panettiere has died at 36 years old. Her representatives confirming to Fox News Digital that she passed away on Sunday. The popular actress is best known for her roles in Heroes, Nashville, the Scream series, Remember the Titans, Bring It On, and much more. The circumstances surrounding her death have still not yet been confirmed. She is survived by her daughter, Kaya. Again, Hayden Panettiere, the actress, passing away Sunday at just 36 years old. Some devastating news for her friends, family, and fans tonight. And our thoughts are with her loved ones. We will bring you more details as we learn it. Again, the popular actress Hayden Panettiere passing away at just 36 years old. We're going to take it.
Terrible news. We got Provoke in the chat, by the way. Good morning to you. And Virginia Chaos also gifts out one. Hell yeah, bro. Thank you very much. And not only helping me, but someone else in the Insane Wheels family. So I very much appreciate that. And I like that. He said, Mr. L. Patterson motivated me. That's awesome. All right. So we got Atlanta sisters, ages 4 and 11 months, believed to be abducted. So by their babysitter. Let's go ahead and figure out what the fuck is happening. We'll go ahead and bring this up. 3, 2, 1, bam.
We have some breaking news that we are following. It takes us out to the Atlanta area where an urgent search is now underway for 2 missing children.
And this is this morning, by the way.
Police believe 4-year-old Zola Cooper and 11-month-old Nora Cooper were kidnapped by their babysitter, Brittany Edney, with her team at Fox 5 in Atlanta. She is live right now at the last known location of the girls. Brittany, what do we know at this time?
Well, I recently got an update from a family member regarding what happened in this just horrific tale. I mean, it's every parent's worst nightmare. Your 2 children missing, and by someone who was trusted to take care of them. I'm told by a family member of the mother that this was
not only trusted, but paid.
the first time.
I would assume if you're a babysitter, you're getting paid. So.
They were using this particular babysitter, that it was an acquaintance of her, and that last night around 6.
An acquaintance? I mean... What? We got Salty Badger in the chat, by the way. Good morning or afternoon to you.
The 2 sisters out to Walmart, followed by a candy shop, and at the latest, she should be back by 10 p.m. Well, 10 p.m. comes and goes. There's no children, and the babysitter, I'm told, stopped responding to calls and texts from.
What? How does that make any fucking sense? Come on,
this worried, frantic mother, and now here we are some 10 hours later, and there's still no sign of these 2 little girls, but they want the public's help. Police are saying, hopefully you can take a look at this video of the screen. Here are some pictures of the 2 little girls, and we want you to take a close look. I'm going to describe them for you. So if you spot them, you can try and help bring them home by contacting police. Let's start with the sister on the right. She is Zola Cooper. She's 4 years old. She is black with black hair, about 3 feet, 9 inches tall. Weighs about 42 pounds, has brown eyes. She was.
Did she say the right side? No, that would be the left side is the 4-year-old. I can tell. This is the 11-month.
Last seen a multicolored dress. She also has some tiny dimples on the side of her smile lines, which I'm told is a family trait. Now let's move on to the other sibling to your left, on the left side of your.
Definitely, there's something happening.
Screen that is going to be Nora.
Now we don't know yet, obviously.
Cooper. She is just 11 months old. She is black with short black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing a pink onesie. Is about 2 feet tall, 28 pounds. Now Nora is missing 2 fingers on her right hand. It's the index finger and also the middle finger. I'm told by her family that she also has pierced ears, and then she has some tiny dimples on her cheeks as well. So if you are in the area, even out of town, in the immediate area, we are asking that you contact police if you happen to spot the 2 little girls or spot them with a woman. Please contact either Crime Stoppers or APD so you can help bring these 2 little girls home. Reporting live in Atlanta with Fox 5, I'm Brittany Edney.
Now, by the way, this coming out just this morning.
Now, Brittany, before I let you go, I see that there is one police car just behind you there. Again, that is the last known location of those little girls. Do you know where police are expanding this search to?
We have not been told.
Hey, you be safe out there, Steve Easy.
Anything past the original release, just that there is an urgent and immediate search for the 2 little girls, and that police say they believe it was the babysitter who abducted them. Now, I was told by a family member that this was a family.
Well, especially it's fishy when the babysitter is dead in the water in the aspect of responding to your phone calls, your text messages. All of a sudden, there's zero communication. What?
Member's house that the babysitter was watching the girls at before she took them off on the evening trips last night to the Walmart and candy store. So that is a family member's home. It's not the mother's home. It's not the babysitter's home, but there is an APD presence, and they've been out here throughout the night. We've seen them since we got here at around 4 a.m. So they've consistently had a presence here. I'm told that there are other areas from a family member that are being searched as well.
All right, Brittany Edney there with the team again at Fox 5 in Atlanta. Brittany, thank you for joining us here and sharing this very urgent story.
Yeah, it's
We'll
terrible.
check in with you guys later on and see if there's any updates.
And of course, you guys know we're going to follow it on my side as well. Let's see if there's any other update. No, they're just going to show the pictures again. All right, let's get into this as well. We have an update from this morning into regards of the reports that we were talking about 11 hours ago about the orders to stand down with South Korea. Trump orders Pentagon to scale back on South Korea. Let's go and see if there's more updates to this, which it sounds like there is. Let's go ahead and play it out.
My name is Josh Breslow, and I do want to get you right back into some of those big stories that we are following here on this Monday. Take a look here at this post from President Trump as we are learning some new information here. President Trump ordering the Pentagon to scale back planned joint military exercises with South Korea, saying South Korea did not help with the efforts to denuclearize Iran. Trump saying that Sunday in this social media post, and I want to read it for you as it says, quote, based on my very good relationship with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, I am not happy with the fact that the U.S. has long ago agreed to participate in joint military exercises with South Korea. These exercises are not only costly, with much of these costs paid for by the United States of America as usual, but send a signal that is totally inappropriate and hostile to a country that, as long as Donald J. Trump has been president, has been unthreatening and respectful. Therefore, and based on the fact that it is too late to cancel, I have instructed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to substantially reduce the joint military exercises. While somewhat unrelated, I recently asked the president of South Korea if they would like to join us in the denuclearization of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and they said, quote, no thanks. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So again,
and the reason why he is doing this whole thing where he's scaling it all back is because he asked the president of South Korea about the denuclearization. And that's where all the reports that were real about this situation, that's exactly what it came down to is this whole aspect. They said no thanks. They didn't want to get involved. And it's like, well, we're always involved in your shit, helping you out. You're not going to help us out? Well, then fuck you. That's exactly what happened.
A lot of questions here as we know that just days ago,
Pablo,
North
good
Korea
morning.
fired that ballistic missile that went into the water there nearby. And there were questions about that as well. Now, we did have at the time Jenny Town, who is the senior fellow and director of 38 North.
Yeah, we actually played the little clip of him earlier on
The
that.
Stinson Center join us. She is now back to
first
talk
term.
much more about this. Jenny, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on this Monday morning. And as you'd imagine, there is a lot to discuss.
There certainly is. Thanks for having me back.
Of course. And I have to ask, as we go kind of into the past here, and you and I discussed this last time you were on, but can you explain for folks out there the joint exercises that seem to take place there just about every year?
Yes, real quick, just so everyone knows, I already have Carney Vanguard set up for the raid. So when we're done here, make sure you guys stick around. We're going to be going over and hanging out with Carney for a little bit. All right, here we go.
With the U.S. and South Korea and what their kind of goal is.
Sure. The U.S. and South Korea do have a combined forces command where the South Korean army and the U.S. Military do work together. And each year they do run at least 2 rounds of large-scale live-fire military exercises. And these are the exercises that North Korea generally does protest as an act of practicing war, and especially
Right, and North Korea does the exact same thing. They do it right in South Korea's face too. You know, and there's times where North Korea will do that testing with missiles and just to like, you know, because they do look at it as like, oh, you're gearing up to scale war on us.
given the scale and given the proximity to North Korea in which they're conducted. So it is common for North Korea to protest these exercises and to do such things as short-range ballistic missile launches in the weeks around the exercises, either before or after. But it is, you know, it is at the same time a necessary part of having a combined forces command where they do need to practice certain logistical matters to have greater readiness in case there is a contingency on the
Which I 100% agree with. Absolutely.
Korean Peninsula. And this was, of course, the first time we've seen exercises that also integrate new drills that reflect some of the realities of how the war is being fought in places like Ukraine, certainly that the North Koreans have been learning from as well.
And I have to imagine this probably came as a surprise to you that President Trump put out that message, because I know I've spoken to a lot of experts who were thrown off, also lawmakers who were thrown off by it.
Yeah, I mean, the way that this was done really is hard to understand. If it was really about signaling to the North Koreans that we wanted to lower tensions, that the military exercises were negotiable in this way, the reality is right now we don't have negotiations going on between the U.S. and U.S. and North Korea. But at the same time, you wouldn't wait until the last minute when the exercises are about to start to make that decision. These have been in
Well, and Trump did that strategically in the aspect of he asking, let's do the whole denuclearizing of Iran, and them saying no, we don't want to be a part of that. That's exactly why this happened. So I don't know why they're it's like over analyzing a little bit, but hey, listen, we already got pretty much into it. I was hoping that there was going to be more reports, but there wasn't on that. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for hanging out with us this morning. I always am blessed and honored to be able to have you guys and support what we do over here. Thank you guys that donate, that become members, send in gifted memberships, all that stuff, man. It goes a long way. The cash apps and all that stuff, man. So thank you to all of you. All right, so stick around. We're going to be raiding our buddy Carney Vanguard. He's live right now, so make sure you guys stick around for the raid, and I'll be over there hanging out for a little bit as well. Anyways, much love, honor, respect to everybody. God bless. We'll see you guys here tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness. Till then, God bless.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul, with a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with, fueled by the power that only metal can be.